Hi, I'm Stephanie. Today we're going to take a look inside the Pergamon Museum in Berlin. Now this is Berlin's most touristed museum. In fact, it's Germany's most touristed museum. 1 million visitors per year come here to see the art collections inside. There's art from ancient Babylon in here, most famously the Ishtar Gate, art from Assyria, roughly present-day Syria, and from Asia Minor, present-day Turkey. There's also the Museum of Islamic Art. Some Greek and Roman art is in here too, including a monumental Roman city gate, but it's all in just one room because the other galleries that used to display these collections are being renovated. Now, this museum was built at the start of the 20th century, and as it was being constructed, it became clear it was already too small for all the art collections that were supposed to move inside. These were things that were being discovered still in what was then the Ottoman Empire, what's today Iraq and Turkey. These art collections were being excavated by German archaeologists, and they were going to move into this museum. What sorts of objects were they discovering? Well, the Ishtar Gate. This is maybe Berlin's most famous monument, especially now that the Pergamon altar is closed. The Pergamon altar is a fantastic piece of Greek art that's the one that gave the name to this museum, the Pergamon Museum. It came out of the ancient Greek city of Pergamon and was the centerpiece even as the museum was being built in the first decade of the 20th century. Now, construction had to be halted, of course, during the First World War, so this museum didn't even open until 1930. But that was a time when the archaeologists and the art collections were reaching a peak for all the art that was being shown on Museum Island. So if you want to see the art collections on Museum Island, this is highly recommended. The Ishtar Gate is fantastic, as well as some other objects in there. I'll show you my secret tip for one of my favorite objects in there you probably haven't seen on a postcard yet. It's a little confusing though, because when you want to buy tickets for this museum, you'll see there are actually 2 Pergamon museums right now. This is because there was an interim museum built until the construction on this one is done. You can see in some of the shots that there are cranes. There's a lot going on this historic Pergamon museum. So they've built a smaller museum across the street with a panorama as part of the exhibition. We'll show you that in just a second. So your one ticket gets you actually into 2 different buildings that both have Pergamon in the name. Don't get confused, just buy the ticket and enjoy both of them. The other thing to keep in mind is access to the historic Pergamon Museum is not through the main entrance, but through the newly built visitor center, the James Simon Gallery next door. You go from the ultra-modern to the historic building through a door cut right into the old wall. Okay, that's it for the historic Pergamon Museum. Let's get over to the new exhibition building with the Panorama. So this is the Interim Pergamon Museum. It was opened just 1.5 years ago, and it will only be open for a few years until another special exhibition comes in about ancient Babylon. In the meantime, you can see a lot of the sculptures from the old Pergamon Museum that are here on display, as well as a bunch of pieces that were in storage that were never on display even in the historic building. The exhibition in here is a collaboration between the curators of the normal Pergamon Museum and the artist Yadigar Azizi. This is a Turkish artist who lives in Berlin, and he's the one who had the idea of building these huge panoramas. That's really a photographic composition made out of millions of photographs that he's taken into some sort of representation of a historical scene. Here the scene is the ancient city of Pergamon in the 2nd century AD. The panorama is only one part of the exhibition. The rest of it is also created together with the artist. So there are colored lights, gold walls, lots of things that don't show up on the rest of the museum island. So it's one of my favorite places to go with visitors and especially with students to get a really different view for how these pieces can be exhibited in what I think is a really exciting way. So with one ticket, you get to go into 2 Pergamon museums, the historic one and this brand new one. This one even has a great cafe inside, so you can sit and relax with a beautiful view over some of the Spree River and into the Bode Museum. So go inside, take pictures, let me know what you think on museums.love, and I'll see you there. The Pergamon altar, of course, is what gave its name to this museum. Tram Test, Tram Test. This is a Turkish artist who lives and works in Berlin. Ich glaube, das wird zu laut. So it has colored walls, gold. So let's see how it sounds when the tram goes by and the S-Bahn at the same time. Museum Island. Really well connected with trains. Oh.